Hello, 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 hello. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitter, Instagram. Nice to be back again for another edition of Light 360. As you guys can see, I am broadcasting on the move today. I'm outside, my first broadcast from outside. I think it's going to be fun. So you can hear the cars and all the sound and all that. But it's going to be a powerful one. I want to welcome you to Light 360 again. This is our first broadcast for this week. We took a break last week and we're back this week again for another powerful conclusion, the powerful conclusion of our season for this month of November. We're going to be concluding season 2 this month of November. So we still have some weeks to go and some powerful stories that you're going to be hearing and we're going to be blessed by. So I want to welcome you all again. I want to ask you to like this video, share this video, uh, just help us spread the word so that more people can be a part of it. Also, I want to ask you to join in the conversation. Type in the comments. Let's know what you're thinking about our conversation. Let's know where you're watching from. Be good, to get all those feedback, and we will be displaying as many as we can of those comments. So let's get down to business. So grateful to God. How are you guys all doing? How are you all doing? It's been a very, you know, how do I say? So many things have happened over the past few weeks, and including an election in the United States, and just different things that have taken place. And the world is just basically changing, going through changes. And I believe God, has brought us to this point. He has a plan. He has a plan. 2020 has been a very unique year, but thank God, through it all, God has been active, God has been faithful, and God has a plan. And as we're rounding up 2020, I believe that, God, is going to begin to start showing you things about 2021, his plans for 2021, how to round up this year the best way in preparation for what he has for us in the new year. So Light 360, one more time, it's put together for the purpose of using people's stories, other people's stories, to inspire your own story, to inspire the stories of others. So we bring people here, predominantly people who have gone through the Leading Lights training of that we organize at City Light Church Light Development Center, and they tell their story of what God has done in their lives. And we're so grateful that so many stories have been told and so many people have been impacted. Thank you for your comments and your emails and texts and just appreciating the stories of the different people that have come. So I believe that today is going to be another powerful one. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to bring in on our guests for today. So this week we are focusing mainly on people who are light in the healthcare industry. That's not the only place where they're shining their light, but that's where they are operating professionally, and from there they extend to other spheres. And so we're going to be having a whole bunch of them this week. Today we're going to be starting off with someone who you are going to get to meet. Um, he's a powerful light for God in the healthcare industry. Also, he's a musician too. So he's one of those people that God has blessed with multiple talents and gifts. I'm always jealous of them. Like, come, especially that music part. Like, anytime I see a pastor or somebody doing something, they can also sing. I always come to God and say, God, what happened now? You should have at least given me that one too. In addition to to the other gifts. So, but he's a wonderful guy. He's somebody that I've gotten to know over the years. Also, we had the time where we were able to spend a year together in the Mandate group in 2018. I really got to know him, much better than he's a husband of a beautiful wife, father of a wonderful son, and expecting another, child, very shortly. He's blessed. He's a part of the City Light Church and part of the City Praise there. Part of those who lead us into worship. Is somebody who is dedicated to God, is dedicated to purpose, is dedicated to excellence, and dedicated to excellence, especially in his career, in that place where God has put him in the healthcare industry, that he's going to be telling us a lot about. He's a light, and I am so glad to have him on today. So, everybody, please join me and welcome to Light 360, Mr. Lekan Fapounda. Hello, Lekan. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for
I like your smile. How are you doing today?
doing
You're
good,
smiling like somebody who's about to become a father again.
right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, grateful for God. I'm expecting another one in December. So
Awesome, awesome. So what's going on with you this season? How has it been?
it's been actually it's been a blessing. This season has been really wonderful. Compared to especially given what's going on around everywhere, and you know, I was just looking at a post yesterday about someone that had posted about how they've like he's been safe in terms of all this pandemic and still got a well-paying job and still keeps their job and
Hmm.
I mean the person lists a bunch of things and I figured like wow this looks like me, it's even though the seasons are like really shaky, God has been our strength and he's been he's been our provision. So it's been a good season for me, really. Yeah.
Awesome. It's been tough for the world, tough for the nation, tough in different respects, but in the midst of it, God has been working, and a lot of things that you know
Yeah.
that you wouldn't know will have happened. God has used on the whole thing to positive,
Yeah.
to us. There's a lot of testimonies, like we
Yeah.
say at the City Light Church, it's been a God show, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So there was the news, before we go ahead, there
Mm.
was the news yesterday that Pfizer, that they just tested vaccine for
Yeah.
coronavirus,
Yeah.
and that it's over 90% effective.
Yeah.
What's your take on that news? What's the significance of it being somebody in the healthcare industry?
I think it's a sigh of relief. We've expected this. It's Pfizer and BioNTech actually, and
Yeah.
they found out it's 90%. I mean, that what we're looking at was to get something in the range of 50% effectiveness. But what we got is 90% effectiveness. I mean, it's a sigh of relief for me and
Yeah.
for everybody that has to like, I mean, for the world at large, I would say,
Because I
especially,
understand that the flu vaccine is just like 30 to 40%
yeah, yeah,
effective,
yes, yeah.
and smallpox and, maybe like 80 or so, and
Mm.
all, so
Yeah,
90% is pretty,
pretty very,
is,
yeah,
is,
very
is a
encouraging,
pretty good.
especially given that it was done in a record time. For most vaccines, I mean, the fastest one they've had so far it was done within 4 years.
Mhm.
This was done little under like a year or so, and we got like 90%. I mean, that's what we hear now, and I hope it remains it remains the same.
That way.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we can only just thank God for that, because God is the one that gives wisdom
yes,
for all this stuff. So if that's what God is going to use to chase and eliminate this virus,
yeah,
make
yeah,
it manageable or something, then we give God thanks for that. So
yeah,
what
yeah.
do you say to people who are afraid of taking vaccines?
Uh, it's a gray area, but I mean, what I would say is that you have to do a risk benefit appraisal of the thing. Right now, you know, I think it's more beneficial for you to take the vaccine if one is available. Because, yeah, as much as we try to downplay the virus, it's very scary. Yeah, if anybody that has like any underlying problem catches the virus, it's not the same compared to somebody that is not that doesn't have any problems. So yeah, so in a nutshell, I mean, I would say if the virus is available, I mean, if the vaccine is available, I would encourage people to take it.
But what are the risks? You talk about risk benefit. What are the risks of taking vaccines?
Well, I mean, the risk of I think the major risk lies in the fact that it was produced in a record time,
Mm-hmm.
and regardless of the speed at which they try to make everything work, I mean, they're still saying that all processes were followed, but it wasn't everything was hastened. So there's some risk in that. I mean, because honestly, I'm not even know the full effect of that or adverse effect in such a short
Okay.
time.
Okay.
But it's better than you having a virus eating lung. I mean, a lung eating virus.
Mm-hmm.
That may put you on oxygen for the rest of your life or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, we don't even know we don't know the long term effects of this virus yet.
Mm-hmm.
We have these laggers, and people that are sick from coronavirus and they just never recover from it. So yeah, I really think yeah, those are the risks are just the fact that we don't fully know what the outcome effects could be in the future. But yeah, but I think the benefit is the fact that which
So I'll ask you one more healthcare question before we move and start talking about you. So
yeah,
you've been on the front lines too,
yes,
for throughout this coronavirus period.
yes.
I'm sure you must have seen patients and seen all that. Is it real? Is it?
Oh,
I
oh,
mean, like, did you
it's
see reality?
it's real as real can be. It's real. So people try to even you'll be surprised. Even my coworkers try to justify it sometimes that it's not real, based on the fact that we have over 2,000 nurses that we work at my job, and not one of them is has died from coronavirus. So they tell you, wow, it's not real. It's but then when you look at people you take care of and you see how bad this thing has gone for them, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to make them understand that you're a healthcare worker, your immune system is all time high because you've been exposed to different kind of things. So I can see why coronavirus might not bring you down as if you bring somebody that is not in the hospital, like somebody that doesn't work among sick people. So yeah, but it's very real. Not to say that people should be afraid of it, but it's very real, and we just have to protect each other. I mean, protect ourselves.
So is it the coronavirus that really kills people, or the underlying conditions?
Again, I think it's a lot of things that will still come out in the future about it. I'm sure there are genetic susceptibilities, and
Mm.
there are a lot of things really. I mean, some research, some studies have found that people with an O positive blood genotype have less risk of getting really very sick from it. So it's just a lot of things that are involved. So I wouldn't say it's the coronavirus if you want to look at it, but again, depends on what stage you are when you contracted that if you ever contracted it. So
Well, thank you for at least clarifying that. I still have more questions, but maybe I will ask you later because I want to know what has changed. Like, how is it transmitted? There was a time we were cleaning tables, cleaning all this stuff. Then later they told us that it doesn't transmit that way.
yeah,
There was a time they told us that we don't need to wear mask, and
yeah.
then now everybody has to wear mask. So
So yeah,
which
so
which one is it? Yeah.
the mode of transmission again, that's one of the things with the novel virus. Okay, so you will see that the CDC itself changing things every day. There was a time they told us like, oh, it doesn't stay in the air for less than 5 minutes. There was a time they say, okay, well, it stays in the air so much. There was a time they say, oh, just use a surgical mask, and then say use an N95. It's just due to the fact that we still do not know very well what this virus. But what I can say for sure that I know based on what it's super airborne. That one is for sure. Yeah. I want to say it's contact, but I want to say the risk is less by contact. But it's airborne is I'm very positive about the airborne transmission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So good. So tell us about yourself. Who is Lekan?
That's a heavy question. I'm like, where do I start from with Lekan? So anyway, I grew up in Nigeria. I moved into the US in 2010. Before then, I went to school in Nigeria. I'm number four of five kids. I'm the fourth boy. I'm the last boy, the first boy. We have only one girl, which is my younger sister. Um, so when I moved in here, before I moved in here, I got a degree in accounting.
Mhm.
Nigeria, I had done this Nigerian Youth Service Corps thing that we do after the university back then. When I
Yeah.
got in here, my goal was to pursue further in accounting, to see if I can get certified as a public accountant. And when I tried to do that, I sent in my transcripts and everything, and they wanted to verify it from Nigeria, but there were a lot of bottlenecks with it, and it just didn't happen on time. So in the process, I said, well, let me start taking some classes while I just wait for this thing to come to. And fortunately for me, I started with some science classes, and I just started falling in love with it. I'm like, wow, this is this is interesting. And before you know it, I was thinking like I was advancing in the science classes. I was going from from like general biology to like advanced biology and all those things. I'm like, wow, what can I do with all this? So when I looked back, and I was still they're still doing the credential stuff, and it's been like over a year and a half. I'm like, what am I going to do with all this prerequisites? And then I looked, I said, well, let me apply to nursing school. Let's see how it goes. And I applied, and I got into UIC College of Nursing. I'm like, well, let me do this. And, in my final year of nursing at UIC, I got a letter from the Illinois Department of IDSPR. I don't know, Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. That okay, I'm cleared to write my exam. I'm like, I don't know. Let me get this nursing out of the way first. So that's what I mean. I just when I started, I fell in love with science, and I thought this is actually what I was trying to do. And and since I started it, I've never looked back. I just enjoy. Yeah, I enjoy the ability to be able to help people, especially in their lowest time. Ability to educate people about things that will benefit them health wise, and yeah, I just didn't look back after that.
So tell me, so you did nursing, right?
Yes.
Did you do master, doctor, or whatever?
Okay. So yeah. So after my nursing degree, I when I started working, and after a while, I decided let me go for a higher degree. But I wanted to go back to UIC, which was a school that I finished from as an undergrad. But then they had stopped doing like a master's nurse practitioner in nursing. They only wanted me to do a doctorate degree, so I enrolled in that, and I started doing that, and I'll be done with that in next year May, a few months away. So
Oh,
um,
wow,
yeah,
that's not fast. So we're gonna be calling you Dr. Lekan.
I mean,
It's nice now.
my wife. Funny enough, my wife had asked me the same question before. Like, would you like to be called doctor? I'm like, I just prefer to be called Ola. That's fine. Just call me Ola.
Right. Good. So, but what doctor in nursing, right, or what?
Yeah, it's a doctorate of nursing degree. So when in nursing, the terminal degrees are two. There's one that is doctor of nursing practice, and there's one that is PhD. So the PhD is more research focused, and the doctor
Hmm.
of nursing is more evidence based focused. So we take
Okay,
what researchers do and we bring it into the clinical setting.
I
So
see.
yeah.
How are you different from the nurse, the normal nurse, RN? When you are a doctor of nurse.
Yeah, it's a lot of ways. I mean, we work in collaboration with doctors. We write prescriptions, which a regular nurse cannot do. We can create a plan of care for patients. We can teach in the university, which an ordinary nurse without a bachelor's would not be able to do. Um, yeah, it's quite a lot of differences. Yeah.
So you loved science and you were going on a particular route, and then suddenly the nursing just showed up, like a shift.
Yeah, I wasn't before I left for Nigeria. Before I left Nigeria for here, if someone had told me, "Oh, you'll be a nurse," I'd be like, bro, that's not my passion. How is that? Where is that coming from? But yeah. but yeah, even till now, my it's just. And I wondered why I never picked that up when I was in Nigeria, because even these days I just watch random videos of physics, and I especially lately I've been watching about cosmos and everything cosmology. It's just
Yeah.
fascinating. So yeah, so I'm like, I don't know where this pattern came from all of a sudden, but it is what it
Well, praise God. But right now, what impact do you have with it? Like with what you are doing right now, what's the impact on people?
is. Yeah.
Like, what are
So
you doing with it to make a difference?
yeah, so far, so right now I want to say I'm impacting in two ways. First at my job, I still work as a nurse on the cardiology floor, where I take care of patients, mostly with heart problems. And then with my doctorate, I have a focus on psychiatric mental health. And when I'm not working on my clinicals, and I'm taking care of patients also. And then I kind of want to say my strongest passion now lies in psychiatric mental health, especially because of what's going on. Especially we've seen a lot of increases in suicidalities, homicidality from this coronavirus. So we've really been instrumental in helping people distress and manage their symptoms of any mental illness that they have,
Okay.
and most uh, stigmatizing the mental illness and all of that. So yeah, while I still work and take care of cardiovascular patients, I think I'm um, more impactful in helping people with mental illnesses right now. So
Oh wow, that's powerful.
yeah,
That's powerful.
yeah.
Cool. So, what about your spiritual journey? How you met Christ and all that? How did that happen? Just trace that for us. Yeah.
So my spiritual journey started when I was like uh, I was in Nigeria. I was attending the First School Gospel Church. Uh, I was like 8 years old back then when we went to a camp. We had this camp in I took up camp in Ogun State. The first year we go there as cadets. The little kids are called cadets, so we go there, and then we had a revival one night, and all people want to give their life to Christ. I came out, and that was the very first time I spoke in tongues. And after that, I didn't speak in tongues for a very long time. So, but anyway, that's another story. But that's where it really started, and um, and I wouldn't call myself sort of a perfect Christian, because it's as I moved on through life, there were times where I wasn't as spiritual as I would have loved to be, but yeah, but that was the very first beginning. And when I moved into the U.S., though, I think I kind of straightened it out better, more in terms of my spiritual journey. Um, and when I came to City Light, that was like the height of it, because that was when I began to really learn some things. I remember when I first did my growth track, and then we're talking about the body, the soul, and the spirit. And I'm like, wait, I've been a Christian all these years. Wow, never heard of this. So that was kind of that kind of challenged me, and I started, reading more into that and start learning more about, like in terms of being like a Christian, not just the nomenclature Christian, but like being, a Christian. Yes.
Okay. And so you started learning about that and all that, and then you did leading lights.
Yes.
You came for the leading lights training. How was that for you? Like,
Oh,
what
yeah,
was?
that was impactful. Oh my God, the Little Lights training is, I think it's one of the best things that happened to me, and that's probably the reason why. The reason why. So we have a portfolio for Little Light, which I have not completed, and the reason I have not completed is because I'm this kind of person that I do my assignments painstakingly. I want to be I want to make sure that every part of it is on the spot. You know. So long story short, when I was in Leading Light, it was a lot of things. I learned about relationships, which was very very which shaped my life a lot, because honestly, before Leading Light, I didn't know what power existed in relationships. I did not know that. So I learned a lot about relationships between God, between man, and even in your your sphere of influence, even in your small even in your family. I learned a lot about relationship, and I learned a lot about myself. I learned about the things that I knew how to do best and the things that I was lacking in. Um, I learned that am someone like sort of a lifelong learner that has this curiosity just to want to know more about things. I also learned that I love excellence a lot. When I do things, regardless of how whatever it is, music, school, whatever, I always want to do it to like the right way. We got to do it to the book. If you're not doing it, we're not doing it. If we're gonna do it, let's do it right. I also learned that, and then the part that I learned that I'm not very good at is the part of cheerleading. I also learned that I'm not a good cheerleader, which I am now consciously bringing into my life because I discovered that, yeah, maybe I don't know how to really encourage people or say the good things in people easily. You know, yeah, Little Lie was an explosive, really mind opening, eye opening experience.
Awesome. I remember when you guys did your leading light, there were a bunch of other people who were in the medical
Yeah,
field also in
yeah.
there. And afterward, you guys decided to do something. Tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. So after our leading light, after we had identified our purposes, and then I reached out to a couple of people, Dr. Mabala and Dr. Tomi from church, about starting up a medical group that is part of the City Light, known as the City Med. And then the goal was for us to healthcare workers, for us to encourage each other and pray for each other, and share each life struggles that healthcare workers go through. Um, and the group was a success. I mean, it's still a success. I mean, the group still exists, and although we don't talk as much in the group as it used to be, but yeah, but the group is still there. Anytime somebody just brings up something, and then we talk about it, and everybody is like, "Oh, yeah." So yeah, yeah, and everybody just put in how they contribute to the medical field, and they just
Yeah.
talk, and yeah, it's
And what was the role of that? The role of that relationship, connections, and all that in what you do. Yeah,
yeah.
like just. Mhm.
Yeah, so that's been very helpful in terms of creating connections and relationships. That group is not only for healthcare workers, actually. There are also the students that are there, medical students, people that are aspiring to be doctors, nurses, and they've been able to relate with people that have been there. I mean, we have attendings on the group. We have Dr. Tony, people that have passed through what they want to pass through, and giving them guidance on what to do, how to do things. And we have also people that were like immigrant students and became doctors that have also helped people in terms of put them through what to do. So it's a small group that has given us a lot of communication and relationships, that has
Is it
helped.
kind of a mastermind group where you have different people who rub minds together,
Yeah.
share, and all that. What will you say to those who are watching? They might not be medical in the medical profession; they're in another profession. I mean, how will you advise them to be part of something like that? What will they do in their lives?
Yeah. And again, this is one of the things also, and I was talking about earlier, I mentioned about relationships and the power of relationships that I learned while attending the student life. Like we always say it all the time, but City Light is such a small group. Life exists in context of relationship and small group. So if anyone is here watching me and you have something in mind that you have a passion for, I want to say reach out to City Light. There's most likely a group that exists in that area. If they don't exist, think about coming with people with like minds and starting one.
Yeah.
I think it's something that is very beneficial for uh, not only your life in general, but it's your mental health, um, and achieving your goals and your dreams also. I think having that kind of relationship with people that have gone through it before um, helps a lot. I think.
Yeah. It's very powerful because even we see it in the Bible, even Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
God came that he wanted to accomplish his purpose on earth. The first thing he did was to gather some people around him. He had the three, he had the 12,
Yes.
and then the 70, the multitude, but the 12 were with him. He shared with them. They asked him questions. They did all kinds of things together. You see Paul too. Paul always had a group around him. Priscilla and Aquila, Timothy, Silas, and all these people that Barnabas and all that. You just see that in the Bible. There's just that repetition of the fact that we need to be able to fulfill our purpose. We
Yeah.
need to have a group of people, like-minded people around us that will challenge us, and that will, that will keep us accountable too. That we
Yeah.
can share, bounce things with, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Totally agree.
So
Mhm.
so anybody, no matter what profession you are in, watching right now, if you don't have a mastermind group, that's what it is called in the secular world. They call it a mastermind group. If you don't have a mastermind group, it will help you to find one. And just like you're saying, if you are churchless and you're watching and you are interested, we have a lot of small groups at the City Light Church that will put together a lot and lot of different you know, interest and all that you can join and you can have your mastermind. I am personally part of many masterminds. So apart from masterminds of like teams that I join, that I'm part of that will need stuff. I had a meeting this morning. It's a mastermind of people with the Life Development Center. We had a meeting this weekend, mastermind of people who are part of the Leading Light Network worldwide. I have a meeting this evening. It's a mastermind of people that, the leaders, we call it the anchors of City that will share what's going on in our lives. We do all that. I'm part of the mastermind of money, how to improve finance. I'm part of mandates, men, that are meeting together to talk about mandates. You were part of mandate in 2018.
Oh my God, Monday. That's another. That's another one.
Yeah.
I want to say these groups are like phases in my life, and I'm really glad. I'm very grateful to God that I've had to pass through these phases. Mandate came into my life at a time where I had a lot of struggles, uh, especially with being a man and being a father and being a husband. Um, you know, when we were in Mandate, we're guys with like minds, and when we talked, I began to see the patterns in everybody's life that you're not alone in this struggle. You're not the worst person in the world if you're going through this, and that's the major importance of the small group. I mean, it just makes you see things from a different light, especially when you feel so down that, oh, things are worse for me. You're not the worst. I mean, people go through a lot of things. So Mandate was very instrumental in helping me see other people's life from you know from just a vantage point. I was able to see that, well, guys, especially young guys that are started to learn how to be a father and a husband, they go through stuff, and then they just have to learn how to navigate it. And of course, we have our mentor, Pastor Lan, here that we I still, yeah. I mean, it's I just can't like in you know I can't really say a lot of things that Mandate has done for me. You know?
Yeah, it was fun, just
Yeah,
sitting together, sharing life
yeah,
experience, and talking about manhood, talking about our relationship, how we relate with women, how we treat our wives, finances, just everywhere. We even had somebody who had been married for a long, long, long time.
yeah.
Older person come and talk to all of us and went out to play and all that. It's fun. I'm still doing it, I'm with the 2020 cohort now, even though their own has been mainly virtual,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but we're
They,
still doing, we're still having fun. I'm actually recruiting 2021 cohort right now. So
oh,
for those who do not know, Mandate is a group of men that we meet. We meet throughout the whole year for 12 months, and just once a month we meet together. We share life, and we have certain goals that we want to accomplish in our lives that we call the mandate commitments. The mandate commitments. Based on the acronym mandates. So we work towards that, and then when we come out, we commit to living by that, and just keep improving in God and keep supporting one another. We'll still stay in that group.
Yeah.
So I think, just this conversation, I love the way it's just, from city med to, to mandate and all that. I think there's this focus on the importance of relationships in our
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah.
the importance of relationships in our life, because I think that has played a huge part in your own growth,
Yeah.
in your own life, both career-wise and in your spiritual life.
Yes. Yes. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome,
And
awesome.
I'm looking forward to our own our all mandate virtual meeting.
Yes, I'm going to actually be announcing because I want December. I want all the mandates,
Yeah.
like from 2018 to meet together
Yeah.
in December just to check up on how everybody's
Yeah.
doing and
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. So
Yeah.
you have this other part of you which is music. So tell us about that one. How did that one come about, and what is that? What is that all about?
Music is part of my life. That's that one. I don't know. Nobody can take that away from me. So I started playing the drums when I was like 7 years old. I was still, again, I was attending Foursquare Gospel Church then. We had a children department where they played the drums, and we also had the big people's church. So I would play the drum in the children department, and every now and then they'll come and call me to come and play in the big church because the drummer then, I guess the drummer in the big church then was getting, I think he was playing somewhere where they were paying him money, and he didn't want to be playing anymore. Anyway, long story short, they will call me. Look at this 7 short-year-old boy. My leg would hardly not even touch the pedal, but I would just play it and play, and I just started growing in music, and I just, at I think around 12, I was part of a choir. We called the mass choir. It was like over 250 people, and I played the drums for the songs. I'm like, yeah, I can never forget those good times. But anyway, yeah, music has always been a part of me. And after being around keyboardists and guitarists and all this, I just pick up little things, and I train myself in playing the guitar, playing a little bit of piano, and it's just yeah, it's yeah,
So you self-taught yourself how to play those things, like
yeah,
the guitar and all that.
yeah, the guitar and the piano, yeah, yeah.
Is it that easy?
It's not. I think it's as a result of being around instrumentally for a long time. I mean, I was majorly playing the drum is my major instrument. That's the one that I really learned professionally and read notes and all that. But yeah, but the guitar and the piano was just what I picked up from people playing. I'm like, oh, how did you do that? How did you do that? Let me see. And then and then I figured out. And the days of YouTube, I just polished up the skills. I'm like, yeah, we can play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the question I have for you now is, so you have the track, the medical track, like your professional medical track.
yeah.
You have the music track,
Yes.
right? Your spiritual life, your family, and all that. How does all these things, how do they fit together in your life? When you talk about the story of your life, the impact of your life, how do they all fit together? Like all the, nurse, I mean, science, music, and all, yeah, relationships and all. How do they all fit together?
I think it's still kind of I think it, for the most part, emphasizes my purpose in life, you know, which is the fact that it's more service related. It's just helping people in whatever way. I mean, when I play the guitar in church, apart from playing whatever notes I practice, I also try to. I'm not a good smiler, but I try to put a smile on my face. I try to do this. I try to do things that will make people lifted. It's just it's part of service. It's not only the tone; it's everything, the body language and everything. In that area, when I meet with my patients at work, I try to educate them. Um, when I meet with my patients in clinical, the mental health patients, I try to make them see the side of what the illnesses look like, and like you're not alone in this, and it's not a crime to have a mental illness. Actually, that's one of my lifelong goals is to destigmatize mental health. Make people see mental health like any other chronic disease like hypertension or diabetes. Because until we get to that state, we have a lot of problems with, and that's for another day in the mental health field. But anyway, it's still part of my service of helping people fulfill their God's given goal. Some people come to church, you don't know what's on their minds, but when they see you and you're playing your guitar and you're smiling and you're excited about the worship that you're doing, it goes a long way. Yeah.
There was a time I wrote something on. I was talking about depression, like what does the Bible say about depression? I think I put it in the leaders and trainings group. Like I just went through scriptures and I discovered that the Bible actually has a lot of prescription for depression and mental health generally. And one of the key prescriptions there is music. You remember when Saul was going through some mental health issues? They said the spirit will come on him and he'll be throwing the javelin, and all that. They said, go and bring somebody to play music for him. That's when they found David. And they said that as David played the harp and all that, the spirit that is on him will just calm down, and then he will just be okay for that moment. So I saw that it's one of the, just one of those things, prescriptions in the Bible about how we can deal with mental health issues. So when you were talking about the fact that, your life, the way it all comes together is service. You have a passion for people's mental health. So you are doing that, professionally, and people's health. So you are doing that professionally, as a nurse and as, your mental health practice. And then you're also doing music. So it looks like the connection there is that, ministering to people's health and mental health generally.
Yes.
Talk about the power of music. Just talk about what I just spoke about. From your own, how you see it.
I mean, you're right on spot. The power of music. Apart from the spiritual aspect that you could go to the worship and you could go into a different kind of realm and see a lot of things that God wants to show you. Apart from that, it's something that fits the soul. It's just amazing work. Even when I'm studying, I'm writing papers, I always leave some kind of music on. It's just something something that you really can't explain. The power of music it's not something that you can really find the right words for. It goes a long way in terms of how it affects your mind, your spirit, your body, and even your thinking.
Awesome. Because like I told you earlier, because I'm outside, my computer, battery is, so I can't plug. So I want to make sure that we cover two important things before this thing. I want to make sure we're able to end before this battery goes up. There are two important questions I want to ask you now. The first one is that when you look into the future, like you look ahead of you, how do you see yourself making a difference in the body of Christ? With these gifts, your positioning, the relationships and all that, what difference do you see yourself making? How do you see yourself shining as a light, in the world? Give us a big picture of, Lekan in 20, 30 years.
Well, I really see myself, especially in a community. Well, let me just be frank. African American community that is disproportionately affected with mental illness. I really feel myself in that light of helping people, people with addictions and people with, different kind of mental health diseases. Just helping them find their purpose again, helping them get out of this sort of bondage, if you want to put it that way. So that's what I. So at some point in my that's part of my career goals is to establish something sort of a place. I don't know what it looks like. I don't have the perfect picture, but I know what I want to do. Where especially people that look like me sort of will come and they get the right treatment. Be it addiction treatment and mental issues. Yeah. So and then before you know it, some one or two things will come in. Maybe my music aspect will come into it somehow. Whatever draws people, whatever draws people will. will incorporate it one way or the other. But my major goal is to reduce that disproportion of mental illness among especially the African American community. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just picturing a place where people get in there, there's soothing music playing, the place. First of all, it's casting
Yeah.
out all the, and then they have the right words, they have the right counsel and all that, and they come out of the place and they've experienced freedom.
Yeah.
They've experienced freedom just by
Yeah.
coming into that
I
place. And
mean, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that is something that's really, really going to make a difference in the lives of people. So what steps are you taking towards that now?
Yeah. So I mean, the steps are. I mean, the first step is to obviously get my degree, and then I also I've been talking to a lot of people, especially most of my preceptors and people that are in the African American neighborhoods, and about what my future goals are, and I've been getting some good feedback, and we'll see how it comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that I need to arm myself with the tools that I'll be able to help. Things
Hmm.
like the right education I can prescribe. I can do therapy. I can do counseling because it's all embedded in my degree. So once I
Yeah.
have that, then I can you know go
Thank you. Let me ask you this last question before this thing dies. Tell me 5 principles, if we're able to make it, 5 principles that your life is built upon that people can learn from those who are watching
Okay, the first one is the fear of God. No matter what I do, I try to put that first. And I'm a very good thinker. I sometimes I stay up at night just thinking about what my story has been, because my story is a big testimony. It's just like when they sing this song that brought you out of the miry clay and set your feet upon the rock. That's the kind of story that I have. So every time I look back and I want to do anything, I always consider the fact that God has been gracious to me, and I can never do anything without His reverence. The second thing is excellence. I've mentioned that before. Whatever I do, I try to put in my best in it. Make sure that it's right on spot. And then empathy, which is part of what I do anyway. It's something that I also believe in. I believe that having empathy is like it's stronger than most people think it is. People don't know that. Well, maybe people know, but maybe they don't know how big of a deal empathy is, and something that I live by, regardless of you know whoever I'm interacting with. And then I always believe in ability to treat yourself. I always like to stop and distress. I know you always like to talk. You talk about it a lot too. So, we actually have a family goal. Like our vacation goal is one international goal and one domestic goal every year. Domestic vacation every year. Well, 2020 is a different kind of year, but we've been trying to, and we've been keeping good with that since 2017. So I always like to stop and distress and take vacation, take breaks. I believe in that because it's very good to your mental health. And then, most importantly, the relationships that we'll talk about. I believe in strong relationships and all of these goals in life and all these things. If you don't have the right relationships, you probably won't be able to reach the people you're supposed to reach. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Is there any other thing on your mind that you'd like to say before we round up today?
I think I have kind of said everything. Just if you don't like music, go look for a way to don't if you don't know how to sing or know how to play, go look for a way to learn something. Because
Yeah.
if I always like it when people know how to do music. I'm a little passionate with that.
And I think, the summary of the story of your life so far in terms of how you're shining your light is this: for those who are watching, God has put different things in us, visions, gifts, and all that. And it's in your own life, it's translating to serving people with your health, serving people with your music, with a goal of serving people on a bigger scale, still in that area,
Yeah.
through excellence. That's what it's about. So I want to encourage those who are watching. the secret to greatness is service. Jesus said the greatest is the servant of all. So turn your gifts, turn your mission, everything that you have right now into service, and you see yourself growing and growing and growing. And also, an important thing that we discussed today is to get into groups, get into important groups, mastermind groups, small groups where you can share, where you can talk, where you can be encouraged, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So well, I'm sorry that I have to go. We have to go right now. I want to make sure that this battery does not knock us
That's,
off.
that's
I
fine.
happen to be on the move, so I stopped by,
Yeah.
to just on the way, to make sure that I get this thing done. But
Yeah.
it's been very powerful, very powerful. Thank you so much, Nico,
No,
for joining us
no, thank you for having
for
me. I
today.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for encouraging us to get into those groups, that we can get developed and pursuing our dreams and serving with our whole life. Really appreciate you,
Yeah.
and I look forward to us having more conversations. As the days,
Have a day. Yeah.
come by. Yeah, days go by. So thank you.
All
Well,
right.
everybody, thank you for joining Lekan and I today on Light 360. It's been a powerful time. It's been great being with you guys. I believe you've been blessed. We're going to be back again tomorrow with another story. So I look forward to seeing all of you. In the meantime, bye bye from Leko and I.
Bye.
We'll see you tomorrow. Keep shining your light. God bless you.